All right, Americans have a record $274,000 in home equity on average in the US right now. It's great news. What are we going to do with it? So, this video, we're going to talk about 4 things you can do with that home equity. And of those 4, one of them I'd say probably need to stay away from because I don't want to get you in trouble. This is Steve with the Malone Home Team, EXP here in the Atlanta area. All right, so big news behind me. Kind of a blank wall. Moving into a new office this week, so it's going to be kind of a quiet video behind me. We're putting in all the background and everything over the next couple of days. But man, the party rolls on. We got to make some videos. We got to talk about some real estate. So let's get after it because we were down at the beach last week and didn't get a chance to make any videos because those kids are crazy down at the beach. But here we are. Let's talk about it. Again, the premise of the video, we got home equity record levels. The average is $274,000. It's a lot of money, and it's all based on what happened during the pandemic with home prices going up. A couple of those years, like 15 to 20% on average across the country. So, we got a lot of equity in our houses. What can we do with that to kind of maximize where we are right now from an investment standpoint? How to maximize where we are from a financial standpoint? Again, 4 things. The last one we're going to share with you, I'm going to kind of say, you may want to think about that twice or 3 times before doing it, okay? But here we go. 4 things you can do with your home equity. Let's go. The first thing that we can do with our home equity is we can pull some of that home equity out and use that to update our house. We can put in that screen porch we've been looking to do. We can do some granite in the kitchen. We can do, maybe paint some rooms that we've been looking to paint. Do, some of the big stuff that we've been looking to do for a while. Now you got the cash to do it. The cool thing about that is, obviously, when you pull the equity out, you don't want to use it for something that isn't going to necessarily have that's not going to have an impact on the house or on your financial situation. This is the equity that you have is because you made a great financial move. I don't want you to take that great financial move and do something bad with it. So we're going to use it to smartly invest into the house. So that way, A, we can enjoy it, but B, and probably more importantly, it's going to help to raise the value of the house. Because if you have a really nice house, equity's gone up, pull some money out so you can put some granite in the kitchen, maybe update some of the appliances, things like that, keeping an eye on the future of A, we want to have a nicer kitchen, but B, we also want to have a better kitchen for resale down the road. Okay, so we do all that stuff. So keep that in mind. It's something you can use the home equity for. Some of those big ticket items. One of the things we ask all the time are what are some of the big ticket items that we can do that are going to give you the most bang for your buck? I wouldn't necessarily take out a home equity loan to put a pool in the backyard. A pool is really, really nice for a buyer who wants a pool. Not all buyers want pools. I mean, to some buyers, a pool is basically, that's it. We're not going to look at the house. I got a buyer right now who, if there's a pool, they're not going to look at the house. So that's not necessarily the best use of your money. Everybody wants a really nice kitchen. Everybody would like for there not to be any gold in the bathrooms, especially the master. They'd like updated tile and things like that. So updated bathrooms never go out of style. Granite in the kitchen never goes out of style. And you don't have to break the bank. I mean, that's another thing I got to keep in mind is for some of these updates, you don't want to do, you don't want to put a $200,000 kitchen into your house if your house is worth $300,000. You're not going to get that money back out. So keep that in mind. Something you call us, ask us, say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Does this make sense? And we'll tell you for the neighborhood if it makes sense or not. But that's one of the things you can do with your equity. Take it. Let's go ahead and let's update our house because A, we're going to enjoy it, and B, is going to help us down the road to make even more money. So that's number 1. Number 2 thing we can do to take out our equity, improve where we are right now, let's take that money out and let's put some money down on an investment property or on a second property. Let's say you want to get a house up in the mountains or a house at the beach. Maybe you want to turn that into an Airbnb in the mountains or at the beach. We've done that. We pulled equity out of our house to do that. Maybe you want to, maybe just get a second home somewhere. How are we going to do it? Are we going to get a long-term rental like the next town over? You're like, hey, let's pull the money out. Let's go grab a 3-bedroom ranch somewhere that's reasonably priced and the money works. I mean, obviously it has to be a financially smart move. The numbers have to work, but it's an option that you have. Keep in mind, if you're getting a second house, okay, whether that's an investment property or a little vacation property, whatever, if you're getting a second house, you're probably going to have to, as a 95+% of the time, you're going to have to put down 20% on that. Because if something happens with your job, something happens in your house or whatever, you're going to let go of that house before your main house. And because of that, there's more risk on this loan than it is on your primary loan. And for that reason, the bank is saying, no, we want 20% down in case things go sideways. We want to be sure that we're covered. So 20% is the rule. So keep that in mind. But if, like we talked about, the average homeowner has $274,000 in equity, that's a lot of money. Could you pull that equity out and go and, I mean, if you pulled out, let's say 100, that's 20%, you could buy a $500,000 house. Yeah, the money has to make sense. The numbers have to make sense for you. Don't just go doing it. You've got to talk with a realtor in the area or talk to me. I'll walk you through the numbers, be sure if it makes sense or not. But, because I don't want my people getting into a financially bad position, okay? But as we've talked about in some of my videos, I've talked about our Airbnb that we own. If you have one house, the equity goes up. You have two houses, the equity goes up on both of them. It's really cool having two houses where the equity goes up on both, especially if you can get it to the point on that second house where all the bills are paid by the rents that are coming in. And then, you have two equities. And then, down the road, you pull it out and you get a third one and so on and so forth. So I've always been a big fan of that. There's no reason to have equity in just the one if you could leverage it and do the two. Again, you gotta be a little savvy, you gotta know what you're doing, you gotta know what area you're looking in. And look at some of my Airbnb videos if you're interested in doing that, just in kind of the mindset you need to be in as far as what am I looking for, where am I looking for it. But that's something you can do. So that's number two. Let's think financially, let's think long term. Maybe it makes sense to take that money out and invest in another property that'll help us financially down the road. All right, the number three thing you can do now that you've got this record equity, man, let's go sell that house. We're gonna get you a bigger house, get you a better house, okay? Maybe you're at the point where you are kind of tired of the house. The same four walls and they're starting to creep in on you a little bit. You need a little bit more room. You need a bigger backyard. Maybe the area is not the same area it was 10 years ago. Whatever the reason is, for whatever reason. Or the other thing is the kids just left to go to college. You're empty nesters now and you got 5,000 square feet and it's just, you and the hubby or you and the missus. And there's nowhere, there's too much house to clean. We got to downsize. Whatever the reason is, having this much equity in your house just means you've got a big old hammer to go attack the next house, okay? Because obviously you're going to put a down payment on the next house. On the next house, you're going to potentially you may pay more, you may pay a little less, whatever it is. But having that much equity is a really good opportunity to go in with that much equity in the next house. Because let's say your house is worth $500,000, right? And you owe $300 on it. You sell it, you make, let's say you walk away with $200. We're just going to make this easy. So you take that $200 and you go into the next house. Let's say the next house you buy is $600,000. Well, you put $200,000 down on that house, and it's now you owe $400 on it. Guess what? You have $200,000 in equity on that house. But that house is going to go up higher in value because instead of being a $500,000 house going up 5 to 10%, it's a $600,000 house going up 5 to 10%. So it's going to help your money grow a little bit more. A, B, you're going to have the house that you want. You're going to have either the bigger house or the smaller house. You're going to have the bigger yard, so whatever it is. The thing to also keep in mind is home prices are going to keep going up. Okay, especially here in the Metro Atlanta area. There are some spots in the country where home prices will go down. Okay, this is an Atlanta-centric video. In the Metro Atlanta area, home prices will continue to go up over the next several years on the order of, I'd say, 5 to 10%. There's just very low inventory. Atlanta's a very hot spot. The housing prices, even though they seem pretty high here, compared to where they are nationally, it's really not that bad. It's a technology hub. It's 5 to 6 hours from the beach. It's right near the mountains. It's got great weather. I mean, we got college football. We got everything. Atlanta's a spot, so it's not going to go out of style. Okay, so for all those reasons, home prices are going to keep going up. So if you're thinking about making a move, and you got the money in place now, grab the next house now, the forever house now, because if the forever house is going to be $600,000. You grab it now, if you were to wait, you're talking about the house maybe $650,000 or $700,000 a couple years from now. Okay, so grab it now, put the money towards it now, make the move now. Use your equity now, make that move. So record equity, let's find that house. All right, so the fourth thing that you can do with your equity, and I would not suggest this, but it's something you can do. You can pay down some debt, some higher interest debt. Let's say you owe, let's say $50,000 on credit cards. And as we all know, credit card rates are pretty ridiculously dumb right now because of the Feds raising the rates and all that stuff. So you're talking about credit card rates like in the 20% range. It's crazy, okay? So that being said, if you've got like $50,000 in credit card debt, it makes, in theory, it makes sense to take it from being 20% and move it into something that's more like 6% or 7%, right? Makes sense. Here's the problem. And I'm going to come at you from the Dave Ramsey thing. So again, I didn't make this up. This is the Dave Ramsey principles. I've been a Dave Ramsey teacher in the past. I followed his stuff, helped us get out of debt. We had like $90,000 in debt way back in the day. We paid like all of it off following the baby steps. Okay. The reason you're in debt, reason people are in debt most of the time is because they spend more than they make and they don't bother to change that lifestyle. Okay. If you get on a budget, follow the debt snowball. And again, I'm going to divert all this to go to Dave Ramsey and follow the baby steps. Okay. When it comes to some of the long-term investing stuff for him, some of the real estate stuff or whatever, yes, I differ on what he says and whatever, and that's fine. I know a lot of people that do. But from the getting out of debt standpoint, this is the only way to do it. Debt snowball, the reason you're in debt is more of a behavioral thing than a mathematical thing. Okay, if we were to take all of our money and put it into a low interest loan that's attached to our house now, then what's going to happen is the bad thing that we did to get into debt, we're going to keep doing that stuff. We're going to keep making the bad decisions, things like that. You got to go through the pain of the baby steps, but going through the baby steps is the way to pay off debt. You get the debt snowball, you start building momentum, you get out of debt. Okay, that's how you get out of debt. Your home equity, if you're going to take out a home equity loan, okay, and we've got great home equity loan people, talk to us about that. Home equity is attached to your house, okay, so whatever you do with it, I mean, let's say, whatever it is, and we'll probably end up talking a little bit more in depth about this, but whatever it is that you do, it's attached to the house. So if you decide that you're not going to pay for that home equity loan because you can't, it's attached to your house. I mean, it's going to put you in a really bad position. Okay, I don't want you losing your house if the hits the fan because you wanted to get the lower interest. Mathematically, it makes great sense. But if we were making great mathematical sense, we wouldn't be $50,000 in debt in the first place. So that's the thing. Okay. Yes, there are financial bills to get paid. Yes, there are. I completely understand. I live in the real world. I got 6 kids. I got 7 on the way. Okay. I know financial crap happens. Okay. And I'm not going to tell anybody this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to do it, and that's just the way it is. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to say, if you're going to take money out, borrow it against your house to get a lower interest rate, you better be prepared. Okay? I just want you to be prepared. The better way to not only pay off the debt, but not go back into debt is to do the Dave Ramsey principles, do the debt snowball. There are other methods, absolutely. We did Dave Ramsey, it worked. Everybody does Dave Ramsey, it works. It ain't pretty, but it works. And that's what's more important, okay? I don't want you attaching the debt to your house and going another $50,000 in debt on top of the $50,000 that you've now attached to the house. I want you out of debt. So that's what you can do with number 4, but really, 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 really think about that. So those are the 4. There's other things that you can do with it as well, but keep in mind when we're taking out our equity, how do we take out the equity? We're going to get a home equity loan or some other kind of product like that, which basically we're borrowing, taking money, so there's going to be a payment back. But the collateral for that is the equity of your house. So if you owe, let's say you have $200,000 equity in your house, I know of some equity products that you can get 85 to 90% of the equity in your house back in a loan. So again, you just got to talk to the people and say, all right, how much is this going to be? Because, is it going to be $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, or whatever, and figure out with your finances, does that make sense? We don't want to go crazy because it is a loan. I would much rather you want to put in a screen-in back porch, I'd much rather you pay cash for it and don't borrow against your house. If you want to get a second house or a rental property, things like that, I'd much rather you pay cash for the down payment for the 20%. Save it up, you know. But it is what it is. We did a home equity loan to get our Airbnb. We knew the risks. I know the risks. I'm in real estate. I'm willing to, kind of swing like that. Now, if I walk out the door today and unfortunately something happens, break my leg or get hit by a bus or something, it's going to be hard to sell houses, right? Right. So there's always risk when you start borrowing money. I'd much rather you do it with cash. Okay. That's why, we wanted a screen and back porch in our house for 6 years. We still want it. I could go get the home equity loan tomorrow and I could have it put on there by next weekend. We're saving up the cash to do it because I don't want to attach that to the house, on top of what we already have attached to the house. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's there. Those are options that you can do. I'd really rather you pay cash for some of those fixes. I'd really rather you, if you're going to pull money out, use it towards the investment side of it, towards another property than on your property. Or use that to be the hammer to knock out the down payment on the next house, like whatever that is. But again, that number 4 I talked about, borrowing money, you really, really just be very careful with that. Borrowing money to pay off bills. I've seen it so many times because I led the Dave Ramsey class, I want to say 4 or 5 times. We saw so many people who had that. It was low interest loan. They took it out and they went another $50,000 in debt. And it stinks because now I got to pay this 50 and this 50. So now I had 100. So what I would say is the best thing you can do for your home equity, of all those 4 things, the best thing you can do, sit on it. There it is. Sit on your equity. Enjoy it. Know that one day when you need it, it's there. Whether that means you need it for the next house or a real emergency pops up, like a real emergency. Money's there. That's the best thing you can do with your equity, okay? But if you want to do something with it, that's what you can do with it. So, got questions? You want to talk about what you're going through, what you should do with your equity? Give me a call, 470-233-4409. Email is below, @MaloneHomeTeam. I'm on Instagram. I'm here on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. We're everywhere. We all over. Give me a shout. I'll talk to you. Bye.